Today we're in that very unique day between Good Friday, when Jesus was crucified, and Easter Sunday, when we celebrate his resurrection. And I will admit that for a lot of years, I never thought about that day being anything more than the time that you got ready for Easter. So that might be the time that if we were having an Easter egg hunt, that we would be filling eggs, or that if we were having company, I might be cleaning the house. Or if the choir was singing, I might be working on music. But the Bible actually talks about that day in Luke chapter 23. And this is after Jesus was crucified, and the women were preparing spices and things for his burial. So starting in verse 54, it says, "It was the preparation day, and the Sabbath was about to begin." So that would have been on Friday night that Sabbath began. "Now the women who had come with him out of Galilee followed and saw the tomb and how his body was laid. Then they returned and prepared spices and perfumes, and on the Sabbath they rested according to the commandment." And I will admit that I've read that passage many, many times without that part of the verse sticking out to me. That here these women who had witnessed the gruesome death of the one that they were following, that they called Lord, here they were resting because that's what God had commanded them to do on that day. And then it goes on in the next chapter to say, "But on the first day of the week, at early dawn, they came to the tomb, bringing the spices which they had prepared." So it wasn't as if they suddenly thought, "Oh, we're not going to do that. We're not going to go to the tomb. We don't need to worry about the spices." No, they had done their preparation. It was the Sabbath. They're supposed to rest on the Sabbath. And so they were following God's command on that day. And then the next day, they went to the tomb and they heard the good news. He is not here. He is risen. So I would encourage you today, in the midst of whatever preparations you are doing for tomorrow, to also take some time to rest. Not just to rest sort of mindlessly binge watching Netflix or something, but to rest and consider what Jesus' death accomplished and what his resurrection accomplished. And take some time to thank God for that. Take some time to consider how your life would be different had Jesus not died and not raised from the dead. How the world itself would be different if God's redemptive plan had not been put into effect. Today is the day, that in-between day, that day when we're waiting with anticipation to celebrate Jesus' resurrection. For these women, they didn't know with confidence that Jesus was going to be raised, because they were going to the tomb to anoint his body, to prepare it for the burial. But we do. And so we can rest in this day, rejoicing that we know what is to come. Jesus died for our sins. He was buried, and he rose again. And one day he's coming back, and we can rest in that truth.